Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today, this one's going to be doing a review for the Walking Dead universe, and in today's video we're going to be doing a discussion video for today. We're going to be talking about San Diego Comic-Con. We got the release of San Diego Comic-Con tomorrow, so wanted to give some thoughts and kind of some, final expectations and, stuff like that I kind of wanted to go into, because, tomorrow's the big day. Tomorrow we got some Daryl Dixon news that we know they're sharing, hopefully more than just Daryl Dixon, but we know tomorrow there will be Daryl Dixon trailer for Season 3, which should be very exciting. We're going to get a better look at what Season 3 looks like. I almost feel like I've already seen a Season 3 trailer, though, because, as much as I enjoy the Behind the Dead teasers, I'm almost like, holy crap, I feel like I've seen so much of this season already, But, of course, that's, kind of just because they've advertised it so much. They put teasers out and, other crazy stuff like that. Not to mention, we literally had our first teaser for Daryl Dixon Season 3 when Season 2 ended back in fall. So, they've been advertising this season like crazy. So I really don't feel like, how usually every Comic-Con, like when it's time to see a new trailer for Walking Dead, you're sitting there like, oh my god, like, I'm not really doing that. I'm kind of just like, we've already seen, a lot of that footage, so I'm kind of like, oh, okay, but I will say, I'm looking forward to seeing how they do it, and I'm looking forward to seeing, how they kind of execute this whole thing. I'm looking forward to seeing how Comic-Con goes. My only thing is, they only have one panel, right? So my expectation here is that it would be nice if they did the Daryl panel. Yes, they did that. But because Scott Gimple's attending, and obviously Scott Gimple attending is kind of a big thing, you do the Daryl panel, you give us the trailer, you give us the first 10 minutes, all that normal stuff that Daryl Dixon always does, which, yes, if you're not aware, they usually share the first 10 minutes of the premiere of Daryl usually every time. I would expect nothing less this time. I feel like, tomorrow they're going to upload that to AMC Plus, and then you can check that out. More than likely, obviously, don't quote me on it. They may not do it, but I believe they probably will, and I think that is going to be a very obvious thing. It'll probably be them in London for those first 10 minutes, I would assume, and it'll cut off at some point, you know what I mean? It'll probably cut off when they meet Julian. That's what I would assume. So, we'll probably get the first 10 minutes tomorrow, in addition to the trailer, the panel, Season 4 renewal, all that stuff. But what I hope for is that when the panel ends, Gimple is still sitting there, like he was back in 2022. Gimple stays seated, and they ask him questions about the franchise, and then he could go into, a few reveals or a few different things that he may have up his sleeve, because if they don't do that and it's some cheap Daryl panel, honestly, that is the lamest thing I've ever seen, and that is exactly what I'm expecting. I'm expecting that it's like, it's just Daryl, and they don't talk about anything else, and nothing, I mean, this whole year, Gimple's been hyping up the idea that he has this whole new phase that he's going to be delving into, that there's a whole new phase for the Walking Dead universe that he's got planned for us. Well, where is that phase?
I'm gonna drop of that shit! Oh my god,
Because, of course, if y'all recall, a few months ago, Scott Gimple did mention that there was a whole new phase to The Walking Dead that he was planning on doing. So, and obviously, last year at San Diego Comic-Con, if you guys don't remember, last year Gimple was sick. I think he was sick with something. Might have even been, it might have been the vid, right? It might have even actually been that. But anyway, point being, he couldn't show up at the event last year, so they had to just kind of push off a lot of the stuff, and I feel like he had things he wanted to talk about. So I'm hoping that this year, because he's going to be there this time, they can actually frickin' go into stuff that's not just Daryl Dixon, you know what I mean?
Hey! Fuck off!
Hopefully other things in regards to this next phase that he's setting up, these other things he's trying to do, because I want to hear about it, I want to hear if this sounds like absolute trash, or if I want to, hear if there's actually some substance to this, if there's any plans with Rick's character, you know what I mean, or if this is just random fluff again, which it probably is. It probably is just more fluff, but I want to know. So I'm hoping that we can get an update on what he's been doing the last, 2 years since Ones Who Live was, being filmed, and since all that stuff happened, because ever since then, it's just been Daryl and, Dead City. So I'm hoping that we get some kind of update here on some kind of substance or some kind of something that may or may not matter to the franchise. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the expectation right now. We'll have to see if that ends up happening, but it would be nice if it did. I think that would be really good. So that's kind of the idea there. Obviously, Scott Gimple's going to be there this year, so hopefully they, let us know on something that is happening, and hopefully, after the Daryl panel, we could get some kind of update from Gimple, or before the Daryl panel. It doesn't matter to me. Just as long as we get more than just Daryl Dixon, and thing is, I'm not trying to sound like a ungrateful fan or anything. You know what I mean? I'm happy we're getting the Daryl panel. That's all fine and good.
I'm gone.
But Daryl on his own is not enough for me with this franchise. It's not enough for me to say, oh, I'm totally sold, you know? Like, not for me. For me, what sells me is a product that actually matters, and stuff like, you know, Rick and Michonne, or, you know, Morgan, or, you know, some of these other things, they do matter to the story, you know? Rick's reunion with some of these characters, you know? What happened with the CRM? Is there any more story to tell with them? I would assume not, but again, let's get an update on that, if there isn't, you know? You know, it's these little things that it's like, it feels like Gimple is, like, allergic to even talking about it, you know? And it's like, I just want to hear a bit of an update. I want to hear if there's anything coming, or if we're stuck with these two spinoffs for like an endless amount of time, you know? I want to know if there's anything else that we should be excited about in the near future, or if it's just these two frickin' random spinoffs that don't seem to be going anywhere, you know? And at that point, I'll know where to kind of set my expectations. So I'm requesting Gimple to please say something, you know what I mean? Say something about where the franchise is going. Hell, if you want to update us about Rick, that would be much appreciated. You know what I mean? Like, actually go into valuable things that the fans want to see.
So you just like pissing me off, don't you?
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, people are losing patience with these two spinoffs. You know what I mean? I'm watching them. I'm trying to engage in them. But the fans, on the other hand, oh, I've seen it. People are gone. People are leaving. And they are leaving quickly. You know how many people are talking on my videos, y'all, that are saying, yeah, I watch your videos just to find out what's going on. I left after the ones who live. And I'm like, damn, you know? So when I'm seeing that, I'm like, Gimple, you gotta say something. You know what I mean? If you want any chance in hell of still being on this network in 5-10 years, you gotta, you know, say something of value that'll give people enough intrigue to stick around, you know? So that's all we can hope for at this point. But again, we'll have to see what ends up going down. Hopefully there's more information than we think is going to be happening, and we'll just have to see how this all kind of is handled. So if you're new to the channel, guys, and you enjoy videos like this, make sure to click subscribe button. You don't miss any of the videos. Make sure to follow me on Dan's Reviews Official on Instagram, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos very soon. Enjoy Comic-Con tomorrow, y'all, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for a bunch of Walking Dead content. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.
Born in the dark alleys, city of concrete. Dan's reviews blowing up, never taste defeat. Walking Dead dissected every plot twist beat. World gone mad, TV junkies hit a treat. Typing up scripts, marathon through the night. His opinions hit harder than a street fight scene. Every episode, brain sharper than a knife. He's the beacon of critique, shedding TV light.